Tuesday, week 31. Number 1, Peggy, who's the people with you in that there picture? And the first thing I did here is I added a comma. I'll take it out and put it back in. I added a comma to Peggy afterwards because you're addressing her directly. So Peggy, who's the people with you in that there picture? Now, since we have people, what's wrong with the who's right here? It should be who are. Who are the people with you in that there picture? Never need that there, so get rid of there. Who are the people with you in that picture? And then obviously picture is misspelled, and so we want to retype that. And that's the way picture is. And then if you notice at the end, I also put a question mark at the end. So we have Peggy, who are the people with you in that picture? Number 2, before we go to the beach, we'll make lunch, pack towels, and feed the dogs, or the dog. First thing, capitalize the beginning of the sentence. That's a gimme. Before we go to the beach, comma. Why? Because we have a dependent clause there, and when our dependent clause comes at the beginning of the sentence, we put a comma after it. So before we go to the beach, comma. Now, will, put an apostrophe in there for we will. That represents we will, or you could write the whole thing out. Either way would be fine. So what we're going to do is 3 things. We're going to make lunch, we're going to pack towels, and feed the dog. So you need commas. Will make lunch, comma, pack towels, comma, and feed the dog. And so once we put those commas in there, it kind of makes it a little more obvious how that sentence should look. That's a good case of without the commas, the sentence looks like a complete disaster. Now, number 3, they are asking for the antecedent. My cousins are studying our family's history, which they say is very interesting. So our underlined pronoun right here is they, and the antecedent is whatever the pronoun represents. So whom does they represent? Well, they say is very interesting. So who is saying it's very interesting? My cousins are studying our family's history. The cousins are the ones that say it's very interesting, because your pronouns always have to have an antecedent to go with them in a sentence, to make at least the personal pronouns do. That way they make more sense. Number 4, next year's class trip will be to San Antonio, Texas. They're asking for which type of sentence that was. That is a declarative sentence because that's simply making a statement. Pretty simple. And number 5, Miss Chen could explain photosynthesis to the class blank than the science book. And so we had to decide which way she could explain photosynthesis. That is actually only comparing. So it's only in the comparative form, and so we just want to go with the more and then more simply. Since it's 2 syllables, you have to decide between simpler and more simply, but in this case, the 2 syllable gets the more in front of it for more simply. And that is all for Tuesday, week 31.